welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and today's car is this, the Porsche Panamera 4S E-Hybrid Sport Turismo. Just about the longest name of any car in Porsche's range at the moment. And I've got this car in after having that Taycan 4S for a week, because it struck me, I wondered if this hybrid version of the Panamera was actually the car a lot of buyers should have bought instead of the Taycan pure electric car. Because this car, with its new style batteries, this brand new version of it, has a bigger battery, 17.9 kilowatt hours, and 30-mile range on pure electric. It's a very clever car. It's also a very big car, and it's also available in Sports Turismo, as that was one of the things that sort of annoyed me of that Taycan, the fact it was a four-door saloon car. Well, this isn't. This has a hatchback and does all sort of clever things. So I really got it in just for just for interest's sake, and then I was just going to perhaps put a tweet or an Instagram out. If you don't follow me, there's some links to some of those. But then it struck me, actually, no, it's worth just doing a short video on it, comparing these two cars and whether a lot of Taycan buyers would be happier actually with a plug-in hybrid like this car. They are priced almost the same, and they have the same horsepower, they have the same performance, but one being pure electric, you're reliant on the outside charging network, which is not quite up to speed, very good at that Instavolt, but they're not all like that. Or you plump for this, that you still have a huge range because it's obviously got a V6 twin turbo engine. The numbers on this car, 440 horsepower from its turbocharged V6. So think of the Macan turbo, that's what's in this. But then you get this electric motor as well, 136 horsepower and 400 Newton meters. Combined, this is putting out, Porsche rated at 560 horsepower and 750 Newton meters. If you look at that Taycan I had in the other day, the 4S, that was 571 horsepower, so 11 horsepower supposedly more, and 650 Newton meters of torque, 100 Newton meters down. But you've got to have it in the launch mode full on to get that. Normally when you're just rocking around, it's 490 horsepower. Price-wise, well, this car, the Panamera, starts at £103,000. The Taycan I had in, as delivered, was £100,722. It's actually a bit cheaper. If you don't have any options on it, it comes in at £83,000. But sort of same sort of ballpark. I'm sure there's a deal to be done with your Porsche dealer. The Panamera has just received a facelift, so it's slightly different at the front. This having colour around here is sort of new. The extras on this car, well, it's this cherry metallic, seems to suit it. It's got trick LED lights there. Then this car has optional 21-inch wheels, which is £2,733, quite an expensive option. Huge tyres, 275, 35, 21s. Also a red caliper rather than the flash of yellow that you used to get on Porsche hybrids before. Again, you can delete that on that badge, just have that as a silver badge. They discovered quite a lot of customers don't like to say they've got the hybrid version. Then obviously at the back, you've got a big interior. This car is actually longer than the Taycan, and you can have it in 2+1 bench seat like this, or individual seats with separate motors and things. It's quite a luxurious car. Soft close as well on this car. 325 30 by 21 rear tyres as well. Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tyres. Around the back we've got black sports pipes, so quad pipes on this car. £617 for those exhausts. But the whole point of the Sports Turismo is it's a hatchback. And you've got a great big boot. Well, it would be a great big boot if you didn't actually have the charging cable there. One of the things I quite like in this car, it's actually got a 240 volt outlet there. Continental plug, but how many cars actually give you a 240 volt outlet to plug in things? I'm not sure what. So there you go, very quick run around the car. Now let's take it outside and see how it drives and how it compares to the Taycan actually on the road. Now, first thing to get your head round with this Panamera hybrid is it starts off in electric. If I just turn it off now, you start it with a strange little thing that looks like a light switch but isn't. Plays a little tune, and you select drive, and you are instantly in electric mode, and off you go. E-power, as they term it. And it does everything basically to maximise using the electric motor, the 136 horsepower engine, rather than waking the engine up. That's unusual with these plug-in hybrids in my experience. They normally start in adaptive hybrid mode or something rather than pure electric like this Panamera. But it does make for a very easy sort of first little bit of the journey because it's in silence. I think you can go up to 80 miles an hour as well, 85 or something in electric mode only. So yeah, quite quick. This is the noisy bit of road, and even on these 21-inch wheels, it's a lot quieter than the 911 I brought down here and some other cars, which you sort of expect. But there is no escaping this sort of big car feel. This is over 5 meters in length, this car, bigger than a Range Rover. And I look out the back and there's a little window to look out with the wiper. Why you would buy this in any other form than Sport Turismo, I'm not sure. But yeah, initial impressions is this is a very smooth, normal car, but this weirdness, that Porsche dominant sort of tacho in the dash, and the needle is on 0, and I'm doing 54 miles an hour. It's the new way of doing things. Range also, when I plugged in this morning, 30 miles. Seems to drop a little bit because it's cold. I can't see a temperature outside, but it's about 6-7 degrees outside, and it's a 28-29 in my experience at this sort of temperature, the range on pure electric. Got a heated wheel if you know where to look. It's down here on the steering wheel, down there in the middle of the spoke. Okay, quick, you know, it's quite rapid the way it steps off there. Still no petrol power. Initial impression of the interior is, well, it's very Porsche-like, very well built. I like the stitching, I like the leather. This is all blank when you start it up, it's all black. Big screen. I like the way it seamlessly goes into the other side of the dashboard. It does feel expensive in here, shall we say. But one thing I have noticed is the height of this centre console, and it carries on into the back. There's a real hump in between, you know, going down the middle of the car. I think there's a lot of mechanicals and battery things going on down here that eats into the interior. Lots of complaints because this vent, you have to go to climate, and you control the centre vent from the touchscreen. What's wrong with us having something? Look there, it's just shut off now. You can just see all the vanes are gone. I want it back on, please. It opens up. Just mad. I've got it open this side but close that side. I don't know. I think designers are just getting a bit carried away with the touch screen and how much they can put in a touch screen. There is absolutely no need for that vent to be touch screen sensitive. Why can't I just use it like a normal vent, like all the others are manual, but not the centre vent? The different drive modes are all adjustable from the wheel. So e-power at the moment as it sets off. Hybrid says what it does on the tin. It will now activate the engine if I put my foot down a bit more. You can see a flash on there, but I'm going to flick to this one. Sport. Finally, look, the engine's woken up, the chassis is in sport, and I have a tacho that works again. The needle is actually moving. I mean, why buy a 560 horsepower saloon and then drive around in electric all day? So this is my squirt up the hill. Let's just see how this Panamera 4S hybrid does up here. So 30 miles an hour and full kick down. Ooh, bit of torque. Yeah, it's quiet, isn't it? There was just a little bit of a traction issue just as it all landed. The 750 Newton meters landed four-wheel drive, but obviously not enough traction to take the full wallop of torque. I'm surprised at that actually, because it's not on super aggressive tyres, but just how quiet. It hasn't got that voice I expected it to have. Porsche's own dual clutch transmission in this car. There we go. The revs have gone to nothing. I'm braking for this. Go right here, turning on no engine. Now what's going to happen? Oh, the engine's woken up and off we go again. Yeah, it's quite lively where all the power motors engaged, but it's ever so subdued. you know, it's one of those cars, if you said, oh, it's a Porsche, you'd expect something a bit more. Let's just try it. If I put it into Sports Plus, is there a bit more of a voice? This has got the sports exhaust on it as well. Let's just slow things down. Slow things down. Accelerate, full acceleration. Oh, much sharper on the throttle. Yep, I'm afraid all cars are now quiet in Europe thanks to that gas particulate filter. Now obviously this has got launch control, so it'd be rude not to use it really. Here we go. Foot on the accelerator. Oh. It's clever tech, isn't it? That's how you do the spectacular acceleration times in this car. It's when it unleashes all its power. But my goodness, it's so clever how it deploys that horsepower. It's wet and grotty outside. That felt proper quick. Paddles behind the wheel as well, but I just find on these sort of cars I just never use them really. Leave the auto to do its stuff. It is very odd the way it does coast into the corners like that though, in this with the engine turned off and just the electric. Around here it did swallow that very nicely actually. This quick right left. Yeah, I'm not testing the chassis in these sort of conditions, but you could cover the ground very quickly in this car. Let's summarise this car. What don't I like about it? Well, I suppose the number one is it just has a feeling of heft, and it doesn't have a sort of real sporting character that I imagine with a Porsche badge on its nose. That's sort of what I thought I would get, but the sound and the emotions aren't quite there with it. The engine just doesn't engage, you know. Weirdly, I mean, that Range Rover Sport with the P400, that little four-cylinder, you knock it, I only drive it, and it's got quite a nice voice to it. I was a real surprise. That isn't the case with this car. The price is quite chunky, isn't it? 117,000 for this example. It doesn't feel 117,000 pounds, really, I'm afraid. It should be the other side of 100 in my view. And I can't really engage with its looks. I want to like the look of it. I like the Sport Turismo treatment. I do think it looks better. It's one of those cars that looks better from the rear than it does at the front, but it just looks heavy and long and slightly featureless down the side profile. I mean, just look at that Ferrari Lusso or some other estate cars look, and I just don't think this quite gets it right. Bits I do like about it is the tech. Just the way I can fast charge it at home. This will charge up from my home charger. Yes, I've got 3-phase at home, but in 2.5 hours I can add 30 miles to this. Got that X5 plug-in hybrid, that takes 8-9 hours to do the same thing. So it's really useful if you're going to use this on short journeys and you're going to get home, you know, fairly regularly during the day or whatever. You're going to do an awful lot of miles on electric. Out it punches. That's quite rapid. I mean, it's a 3-point-something second car to 62. This is not a slow car. 182 miles an hour. And also, if you do tap into that electric, well, you do the most extraordinary MPG. I brought it up from Reading, from Porsche, 48-mile journey, an hour and a bit. And even though that's more than the 30-mile battery capacity, I averaged 59 mpg. If you're doing journeys between 40 and 50 miles in this car, I expect your MPG average will be around 60 miles per gallon plus. And for a 2.2 ton 4-door super performance car, they are exceptional figures. I also did a longer journey in this car. We did about 120 some miles just to see what happens once that battery's gone down to zero. How's the MPG then do? And I was surprised, it did okay. It did 39 average over the journey. and that was mainly dual carriageways and things. I asked at the beginning, would I buy this Panamera Hybrid or would I buy the Taycan 4S I had in the other day? Well, I probably wouldn't actually buy this example of Panamera Hybrid, but I would have the Panamera over the Taycan all day, every day, without hesitation. What I love about this, a plug-in hybrid like this, it gives you that flexibility. Yes, you can run around on pure electric a lot of the time, but you also have no thoughts about suddenly going up to Scotland, going to Cornwall, skiing, whatever you do with a car, those odd long journeys, without trepidation of working out where you're going to charge the car up, etc. That's why I think they're the perfect stepping stone at the moment, rather than going pure electrics. And I would actually go for the Panamera 4 E-Hybrid, Sport Turismo, such a long name. It's £18,000 cheaper than this car, £85,000, and it has the same battery, big battery, the 17.9 kilowatt hour battery, the same electric motor, slightly less boost, 50 Newton meters less on torque. You're not going to notice, but you are going to do exceptional MPG with that, even better than this thing. And this one could do 50, 60 anyway, so you're going to be 60, 70, I expect, in the Panamera. That will dramatically reduce your CO2 emissions, if that's what you care about. And I'm not talking about tax. I think the Taycan, if you're a company car buyer, well, you're just going to go pure electric. There's nothing you can do. But if you're actually looking at a car on abilities, the Panamera 4 E-Hybrid is a better tool than the Taycan, and you will be amazed at how little fuel you're going to use. I find with the X5, 2/3 of my mileage are on pure electric in just normal use, and that's the same with this car. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm actually going to be testing some proper cars next. I've done enough with plug-in hybrids and electric cars recently. We've got some really fun cars coming in, so if you want to keep watching, keep subscribing, pressing the notification, do all those things, because there'll be some more videos coming along very soon.